So I think one thing that I really uh, I was influenced, I was moved by when I was studying in the States was the idea that actually musicians travel around the States, in the most primitive ways, in the most affordable ways. Usually just means everybody just pile into a van, all the instruments, everything, and then just go from, you play from town to town. So that kind of life, to me, there's something romantic about it, but at the same time it's also the struggle of how do you bring your music to strangers, to people, to introduce your music, to interact with people in the country, or even hopefully better outside of the country. So I brought that concept back. It's something that was dear to me. So I brought it back here, and I still remember it was 2007, and we did that. So my trio and I, so we packed keyboard amp, the whole drum set, bass amp into a Myvi, and three of us traveled. We traveled to Penang, we traveled to Ipoh. So we did, I think, at least 6 stops. We even went into Singapore, I remember. Yeah, we even went into Singapore, went through custom and all that. What are you guys doing? And then so that was the beginning of this tour thing that I kept on doing year after year. For sure, it's very fun. I always enjoy bringing music to a new place, to people that would not attend a concert otherwise, something like that. Of course, I'm not saying that like we are so wow, we are so noble or whatnot. No, it's because we are having fun, so we want to keep on doing it. But as I can see that when people say that Malaysia has, there's no jazz audience, I don't really agree with that, because wherever we go, we always have an audience. And people might come out and even tell us that, wow, this is the first jazz concert I've attended. So to me, that always is very rewarding, and at the same time, it strengthened my belief that, jazz is not something that is so high and so out of touch, but rather it's actually music that could communicate human emotions to anybody, even to anybody who are not musically inclined or not initiated. But we bring to them, and then we try to have a conversation, have a communion even. So in the same room we play music, and also we kind of try to introduce the concept of what's happening in jazz. So how can you better appreciate the music? So by doing things like that, I can see that that there's more and more people who are appreciative of this. So that's the whole point that we are doing tour. But of course, a lot of time it's actually quite tiring also. We have to do everything, actually. So we drive to a place, we have to bring the instrument, set up, and then usually in Malaysia, this is a very hot country. So we'll be like sweating like crazy, everybody like very, very tired, and then play. And then, miraculously always after you play, you feel even more energized, like want to go on, things like that. Then going out of the country, I started this tour thing also since quite early, 2006, somewhere around there. I just from one contact that I had in China, we managed to flew over there and then play music, and they were quite welcoming. Then from there I started to know more and more people and more contact. So at one point we even played 21 concerts within a month time, so inside China. So in China is that, of course, I don't have to bring keyboard or anything, but still we have this backpack, go from one place to another, take a train to the new city, and then sound check in hotel, play the show, usually supper, then sleep, and then second morning catch another train, go to the next city. So things like that is also really fun to me, always fun. Of course, we have a lot of frustration sometimes. You miss the train. One time we missed the train, we have to wait for 6 hours for the next train. So we spend time in Burger King, I remember, playing cards and things like that. And also, there are a lot of unexpected stuff. One time, I think this was in the southern part of China, in Guangdong province, in a city called Shunde. So we went there, and then our host brought us to the venue. We look at the venue, we're like, huh? Is this a kindergarten? It is actually a kindergarten. It's an auditorium that belongs to the kindergarten. So, but the auditorium is damn nice. It's like a KL pack kind of size auditorium. So then when the audience start to come in, I was kind of in shock also. Half of them are kindergarten students. Like, what are we going to do? Really kind of... But then started to have to strategize, we had to change the song list. Then I started to write out a melody that I'm sure that the Chinese audience will know. So I started to write it out on a tissue paper. Everybody's like, okay, we play this, we make sure we play this, and then we kind of like talk about it. Jazz is like this. You see, even this Chinese melody, we can make it jazz and things like that. And then I have to say that show was one of the most fulfilling show that we have played. We kind of like turn things around, things like that. Yeah, so so I would say that playing music, of course, if we can be comfortably just stay in a city and night after night get to play a lot, that's fun. But the change of environment, the uncertainties, the strangers who not to your music, the road trip, and also sometimes, how within the band itself, band members, some tension or some jokes, all this really adds a lot of colors, really enriching my life as a musician. So I think I really enjoy doing this, even though sometimes we also ask ourselves, financially, is it making sense? But I would always bring this out as a Chinese. you always say that, as long as we don't lose money, as long as we, can cover all expenses, it's worth doing. So let's go. So I have to admit that my first ever keyboard that I bought with my own money was a Roland. What was the model number? FP2, the very early ones. So that time I was studying in the States, and I went to a nearby cafe and talked to the boss. Can you let me play here? And she said, I have no money to pay you. I said, no need money. Just give me a fish bowl. Then we just put there and get tips. She said, okay, come. But I have no keyboard. There's no instrument at the cafe. So I have to buy a keyboard. So I went to eBay. I remember eBay. So I bid a Roland keyboard. At that time, I didn't know anything about Roland products. I was playing piano, real piano all the time when I was here. So that was my first keyboard that meant a lot to me. It was a good memory. And I have to say, the first impression was, it's built like a tank. Really, because I have to carry this keyboard and also a keyboard amp, and then walk from my apartment down 3 flights of stairs, and then like bump here, bump there, and things like that, because the staircase is very, very narrow. So every time doing that, still the keyboard no problem. it's like a tank. And then I have to walk through the snow, you know, in the winter. It was snowing really hard. I have to walk through the snow with the keyboard and then to the cafe. About, I would say, maybe 700 meters away, something like that. So that's the first impression. Second impression was, I was surprised at how good the touch is. To me, as a piano player, I really picky about the touch of keyboards. So back then, the impression of keyboards is always it's plasticky. It's not nice, not much reaction, not much give back to me when I play. But that keyboard changed my perception about electric piano. I was like really enjoying doing it, and sound-wise also really like above my expectations. So from then on, I kind of become a fan of keyboard by Roland, especially electric piano type. So over the years, after I came back to Malaysia, I keep on using a Roland, and even at my house, I have something like this, but better than this, I think. but really, the touch always very nice and well built. So I think, yeah, for me, I'm kind of the fans of Roland.